God, hey y'all, it's Timothy. I think all the alcoholism, but then again, also just going out and talking to people has me feeling under the weather. But then again, of course, something's going around. Jesus Christ. But even then, my immune system can be quite weak at times. I need to take better care of myself. All the Popeyes and caffeine and alcohol isn't exactly good, let's just say. You want to know what's not good for me? Luke Healy. Yeah, if you're like, who's that? In case you haven't been keeping up, I fell in love with a fascist white supremacist on accident. And if you're like, how do you fall in love with that nigga on accident? He didn't tell me, obviously, in the fucking beginning. Obviously, for obvious reasons, he did not. And I guess it's just so fucking annoying, but a part of me only calls him that. One, because he is fucking that. He's a fucking loser. Holy shit, he's a fucking loser in so many ways. You can tell that sexuality really is not a choice because, wow, this is the guy that sticks, really? A racist motherfucker with titties? A detransitioner asshole who is in a glass closet with Twitter fingers who literally threatened to murder me? And then was too pussy to execute it, so in the process I destroyed his entire life. And, like, really? I don't know. Trust me, like I said, sexuality is not a choice, because I would have been moved on from this man. But then again, I've gotten close. Let's just say, sexy niggas who do not know how to act. So it's like my brain just keeps going back to the, hey, remember that guy who's like almost a 7.5? Yeah, and he was exactly your physical type too, and had a very interesting layered personality. And there's several moments I go back to. I've mentioned it before, but one of them, I think I'm finally figuring out why I liked him so much. Because he had a past that still was in alignment with me. He wanted to step outside of himself and his life. He's been going through a lot lately at home. His mom's dying of cancer. He definitely is repressing large parts of his personality and his lifestyle and more. Like I said before, a year ago he was like a trans woman who was a communist and a heroin addict and an alcoholic who believed in equal rights for all, at least allegedly, and had all these different mindsets and personality traits and more. And he used to have more of a free life as a woman. And if you're wondering, he used to be trans. He doesn't like when you bring it up, but he brings it up all the time. Sometimes by force from his family, sometimes because it's like 10 years of his life. He has to address it. Or over 10 years. Almost 15 if you think about it, because he realized he was trans around 10. And I'm just saying, he went through quite a bit over the course of a year where it's like, oh, suddenly you went into a rehab program and got really into religion, like too much into religion. And suddenly you're back in contact with your estranged, abusive family. And suddenly you no longer want to be a girl, you no longer want to suck dick, and more. And you also conveniently no longer can afford the lifestyle you used to have, and you no longer have a job, and you're just financially reliant on your parents who force you to grift and do all this shit and brainwash you. All of it adds up to a very bad conversion-y picture. And I'll put it this way. Where do I even start with this? A noteworthy thing is that I remember after our second date, me and him had a bit of a verbal spat over text. He has a tendency to catastrophize. His anxiety ramps up really, really, really fast and really, really, really bad. And it's something that I have found to be one of his worst qualities. And I know you're like, Tamia, what? It's not the, really the racism. It's like, I can excuse racism, but I cannot excuse anxiety attacks. That's not the case, bitch. Fuck you. I learned about the anxiety attacks first before everything else about this asshole. But he was the type of guy that would just keep being he would switch, you could tell he was obsessed with me too fast. Like, after one single date where we hung out at a bar for a bit, entirely sober, he had a soda water and I had a Red Bull, and we just talked a little bit. Nothing too important. It's like, hey, what's your favorite color? Oh, you like purple? That's cool. Oh, how many siblings do you have? Oh, do you like theology? And it's like stuff like that. And then we went for a small little drive and talked a little more, and then we walked around the waterfront. It was by no means a super deep conversation. I barely remember anything we talked about that night. But it was still a pleasant night that I was happy to have. And I'll put it this way. Have you heard the song Tear You Apart by She Wants Revenge? Do you know how good it feels to have a guy, message you and just be like, hi, I really can't be in this house any fucking longer. My mom's just pitching a bitch about me leaving the house, but I can't just be here and watch her die slowly, and I need a break. Can I see you tonight, please? She's just yelling, and it's rough, and I really want to see you. You seem gorgeous and amazing and awesome. And I plan to see him. I was like, you know what? Like, meet me at this comedy show. And then, you know what? He took hours to fucking decide if he was coming out or not because he was anxious. And then once it got, like, around, like, almost midnight, I was like, hey, listen, both comedy shows I was going to go to wrapped up, but you know what? Just meet me at this one bar. There's still plenty of time. And I got dolled up, and let's just say when I met him outside of that bar with my gorgeous fucking, like, red and gold flowery headscarf and my black mini dress, oiled up legs and arms, with my fucking beautiful kundan jewelry, like the gold and moissanite ruby earrings I had on and matching necklace. He looks at me like he was just like stunned. He was like, "Oh fuck." Not only does she look like her photos, she looks better than her photos. Like he was amazed actually. And I was gorgeous that night. And it was so fun because a bunch of my comedy friends were there and hugging me and socializing, and they were trying to talk to him as well, despite his intense anxiety making him pretty quiet, and he didn't know what to say or do. But he was frankly, even in a crowded bar, he was just happy to be a few inches away from me, talking to me whenever he could. And it was nice. We went out to a burger joint. He handed me his card and said, get whatever you want, and gave me all I wanted that night, which was nice. It was a pleasant time. Nothing revolutionary, nothing too much, but I have to admit, it was very cute seeing a man like me so much and so nervous about meeting me because he was so dreadfully attracted to me, and that his hands were like shaking ridiculously hard. This is a quality that is very well known about Luke Healy. He shakes very, very hard when he gets nervous. And you can tell. You'll see it in documentaries he does, you'll see it in clips. It's like you can just kind of, he's very easy to read. I hate to say it, I love that about him. I know it's sick. I know there's worse things to be attracted to about a man, but I'll tell you, you will eventually hear some more sick shit about what I'm attracted to. And shaking is just like, I shouldn't be attracted to a man who shakes like a little crusty-eyed white dog, like a little chihuahua, and is constantly scared. But like, I was. I liked that this was a man who felt afraid to look at me because he found himself disgusting and me a goddess in comparison. I liked that he asked permission to smoke in advance before meeting me, and then the second he saw me, he immediately had to pull out a cigarette, and he was shaking like hell as he lit it and trying his best to hide it, but he couldn't. And then he tried to talk and he was just vibrating. And the way this man, like, I don't know. He was even nervous to throw the fucking cigarette out on the sidewalk. Like when I said, "Oh, don't throw it out. It's still you've only took like two puffs. Just blot it out and put it in the pack." He was like, "You're right. You're right. You're right." And he immediately put it back in the pack. And he was so nervous that whole evening. And I did see him noticeably warm up at certain points, but he just was like starstruck by me. Don't worry. Like I wasn't starstruck by him. There wasn't too much about him. I hate to say it. He was giving like lukewarm tap water. He wasn't giving Shirley Temple or root beer float or high quality champagne. He was giving really nice, refreshing glass of water. In a time period where I was stressing myself out with all my comedy production stuff and event producing, I felt good. Just 'cause it's like this is a pleasant, simple time with a new man, and it feels nice. I remember the way he messaged me afterwards, just talking about how he felt this insane, surreal connection as if we had known each other for years. I was like, oh, you felt that? He was like, yeah, I did. And I said, good for you. And we moved on. And then he quickly got infatuated with me to the point where he would just send me random money for like lunch, or if I was upset, he would send me ice cream money because he knows that when I'm upset, I like to get an ice cream cone. Because the crunchy cone of a drumstick makes the angry part of my brain that wants to destroy happy within the smooth calmness of like I need cold things to calm down. I was angry earlier tonight actually and having terrible thoughts, and the cold breeze on a night like this helped me stabilize. What the fuck was that sound? Sorry, one second. Some idiot sounds like he's getting stabbed in the throat outside, but I think he's just coughing. Sorry, I know that sounds so heartless, but it's like, what the fuck? I don't know, he's coughing like he's fucking coughing up fucking marbles. I don't know. Hope he's okay. God bless his soul. Amen. Not my business though. But as I was saying, so me and yeah, and I like if I'm ever gonna have a blackout, ice cubes. If I ever feel emotional distress, like that's too overwhelming, ice cream. And he would send me ice cream money at random, despite being unemployed, just to see me happy. That was nice of him. Lunch money, dinner money, ice cream money, just to be sweet, because he wanted to be the type of man that proved his worth to me, and I valued that. I like that in a man. And then time went on, and I think our second date is the most noteworthy part. This was a date where I think my perspective of him got stuck in a certain way that couldn't change. We went to IHOP for the second date. It was just because I was in a really, I forget what had me in a bad mental state. I think, was that when I got betrayed by my comedy buddy? I think that might have been, I forget. Was that when I got betrayed? All I know is something really rough happened, and I had to play hooky from an event for a while, and I just made an excuse to not go and pretended to be sick when I actually was fine. And I made plans with Luke. I was like, please, I know you're coming back from a trip from like LA or something to work and get some money, but like, I really, really want to see you. Is there any way you could please see me tomorrow? It would mean the world to me. I don't know if I played a certain bad mental health card on him, but all I know is I made it clear it would really mean the world to me. He said, are you sure you don't want to meet at a later date when I can commit to more time? I said, even just a simple hour or two would be great. And if you have to go, you have to go, but I would just love the presence of a friend right now and of someone nice and good. And we met up. We went to IHOP and he was like, yeah, food's on me. Let's just say, like, the only reason I suggested IHOP was because I had, like, free rewards in my account where I could have gotten free food for myself and maybe even him. And it was like in hindsight, it's like we could have went. I got dressed up to the tens that evening. I was sexy, like 11 out of 10 actually. I was ridiculously gorgeous. I would not stop eye fucking myself in his fucking car mirror in the passenger seat. We could have went anywhere else if he was gonna pay for the food anyway. Anyway, let me be chronological with my storytelling. But let's just say I showed up dazzling the day we met. I was an hour late to him trying to fucking pick me up, and he was an idiot who panicked about parking. It's like, nigga, if I say to meet me at this bar and you can park outside that spot, or if there's a million places to park, why are you circling the block over and over again like a fucking stupid idiot? But he was panicking, and he's not a smart man at times when he panics. That's something that I've always found annoying about him. It's like, sir, you could have parked in front of the bar. Why are you wasting your own gas money and time and stressing yourself out? Like that, he catastrophizes. Like, sir, park in the fucking parking lot of that bar, idiot. Like, anyway, I got dressed up to the tens. Opal earrings, knit brown dress with the leg slit, high heels, oiled up body and skin, looking good, smelling good, like radiant. My best jewelry on, my afro nice and plump and plucked, perfect. This man was so irritable when he saw me, but then, like, he did later on confess that he had just been in the car talking to his mom and she had been screaming on the phone for him for the entire hour. And he was also worried about parking, so it just really was putting him in a bad mental state. We had our date, and like as I talked, he just seemed like he was zoned out and not paying attention and not interested in whatever I said, and that really upset me because it reminded me of certain things on the first date where it's like it didn't seem like he was listening to me, it just seemed like he was waiting for me to stop talking, honestly. I thought this is a man who acts like he adores me, but he likes the idea of me. There's no real connection here. It's so pathetic. And it's irritating and it hurts actually. God, can I not have any real connections in my life? And then what happened next? Sorry, I'm crying a little bit. I remember that in the middle of the day, like everything was going okay, but at some point, okay, this is the part that's most noteworthy. Let's just say the waitress gave me my food and somehow most of it was cold and undercooked and it was stupid as fuck. And I just had to be like, hey Luke, is it possible you could talk to the waitress to get some replacement hash browns? And he was like, I could just order you more. And I was like, oh, you could just see about like
Or he was nervous as fuck to even order me more at first. Like, he just was like, oh, you want, oh, I don't know. Oh, sure. And he had a he had a feeling like, okay, this is a gorgeous girl who I don't want to disappoint, but holy shit, she wants me to do the scary, terrifying task of telling someone in customer service who's supposed to make me happy that her food is made incorrectly. Oh, and then somehow he fucked up so much that this bitch brought back like three fucking hash browns, and most like and half of them were poorly prepared. And he paid for all of them because he's a fucking coward. And I thought to myself, this is such a pathetic man, but a part of me also really likes it. I don't know why. Maybe it's the part of me that wanted to use him, maybe it's the part of me that wanted to protect him. I don't know. It was just like, all I know is I thought he was a sweet guy who definitely had a lot of potential to be a very wonderful man, but holy shit, he had a lot of emotional maturing to do. But this is the moment that stuck for me. When we were at IHOP, at some point he gets a call from his mom, and then I'm like, yeah, pick it up. It's okay. Like, if you feel like picking it up, cool. And if you want to use me as an excuse to not pick it up, that's fine. You're not doing anything bad. You're having, what, breakfast with a friend. Nothing to worry your parent. You'll be good. Like, because, his mom was worried about him going out of town because in my city was where he used to get his supply for drugs and do a bunch of bullshit when he was younger. So his mom does not like him coming to my city at all. But either way, he picked up the phone, and then the second he put down the phone, he started shaking again. And he started like shaking his legs, full body vibrating so hard that the full table was shaking, and silverware was like clattering on the table, and the dishware was fucking like everything was shaking. And at the same time, I remember awkward timing, like some random kid in the background, a poor toddler starts vomiting out so much fucking vomit that it actually seemed like a scene from The Exorcist. It's like that kid is puking out his weight in vomit. I'm kind of scared now. And in that moment, it just gets like very chaotic, and he starts just getting really flustered. And Luke is just kind of staring at the table with his hands like this, and he's like, anyway, um, and I'm like, hey, Luke, do you want to tell me what just happened on the phone? What happened? Can you tell me, please? He was like, oh, don't worry. Anyway, so, uh, uh, and he kept trying to cover his hands to stop them from shaking, but it was making the shaking worse. And he was getting choked up, and you could tell he was about to cry any second. And I know that for men, it's an ego thing if they cry. And I know the best way to handle a situation where someone's emotional is that if you are stable and calm, they stabilize too, because then they feel safe. So I just slowed down my breathing and closed my eyes with my hands folded underneath my chin like this. And I could tell he really didn't want to tell me whatever the fuck was happening over the phone. And it was hurting me because I'm known as a trusted resource for like belief and empathy in people. So I took it personally. But I didn't make it about me. I just thought to myself, let's see how I can calm him down, but also let's see how I can stop myself from lashing out, because I was torn between, do I slam my hand on the table and just insult him and say, you're fucking pathetic, get it together, tell me what the fuck is wrong, or I'm getting up and leaving and never seeing you again? Or do I want to be calm and sweet like a lotus flower? So I chose lotus flower, and I just was like, hey, tell me about, oh, out of curiosity, like, tell me about, like, what you like about the Civil War or something like that. And he just started to slowly stop shaking and started breathing better and calming down, and it went back to normal. But he still didn't ask questions about me and still did not want to disclose to me what the fuck the phone call was out. And I forgot to mention the entire time on the date, it was extremely rare for him to even look at me. And I just thought to myself, wow, I'm so fucking gorgeous, and he is acting like I'm chopped liver. Does he just hate how I look this much? Does he not like the afro under the headscarf? Wow, okay, I should never see him again. He doesn't ask about me. He doesn't confide in me. He has nothing interesting to say. Fuck him. And I remember as we walked to his car, he was like, thanks for such an amazing date. I had a lot of. This has been really nice. What do you want to do next? And I just choked up, I want to go home. And he was like, oh. He was like, I'm sorry. Did I do something wrong? I said, it's fine. Just, I want to go home. I can't. And he was like, okay. And he started panicking again. He was like, shit, I guess, could you tell me what I did wrong? Because I really want to know, and I'm so sorry if I did anything. Did I do anything? Is it me? And I just broke down, and I was like, you haven't looked at me all night. I must look so fucking ugly to you. And just like, it's, you don't ask about me, and I don't think you like me that much, and it's fine. It's just like it hurt, and I was super emotional. The way this man snapped, the way this man just snapped. like not angrily, just like, oh, like he didn't realize. And he was like, no, I haven't looked at you all evening because I was afraid that if I looked at you for too long, I'd make you uncomfortable. I thought you were gonna hit me. I I thought I would creep you out and make you disgusted if I looked at you too long because I don't feel like I deserve you. You look fucking gorgeous tonight. You look stunning. Like, holy shit, girl, you're more beautiful. I've had women I wanted to marry that weren't as pretty as you, girl. And he was just like making it clear, like, no, I find you so stunning that I was just afraid to look at you. I was afraid to look at you because I thought you were so fucking stunning. And I was, and I didn't feel like I deserved to even look at you. And that's true. I mean, sorry, sorry, that last part was not needed, but this is just me speaking from future, like present day. Yeah, he did not deserve any of my time, attention, or company or presence. God bless that I ever gave it to him, but back then I thought that was sweet. And then eventually he did tell me, he was like, the phone call I had was that my mother's tumor grew and that it's not responding to radiation. And I was emotional and I was like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. And he was like, don't worry, this happens. Like it might go back down. It fluctuates sometimes. It's not the first time, but it's just like this is scary that it's happening again. I really want her to be okay. And we talked some more, and the next thing you know, the rest of the like we just were like, how about we go on a drive instead? And it was funny. We went on a drive. We talked about each other's types. He's into Latinas. I'm into dudes who look like him. Unfortunately, except I didn't tell him that because I don't like to tell men that they're my exact type because you know how they act. Ew. Like but I said you could look in the mirror and you can find out what my type is, I'm pretty sure. And don't worry, you look pretty damn good to me as well. And he would not stop complimenting me. And eventually we did talk, and I think he has autism because I'm gonna say it, I think there's a 70 to 90% chance this guy has autism like me because the way he handles communication, certain words and phrases he uses, and more, a lot of it just aligns with someone who has very severe autism and social skill issues and more. I don't want to repeat too much because I don't want to piss myself off. But I will say, he did eventually explain if you want me to tell you anything about my life, like, because I also would ask him questions and he would say something brief and it would hurt me. And then he had to clarify if you want, you can ask me any question in the world you want and I'll give an answer. And if you want a longer response, you could just tell me what you want a longer response on and I'll do it. I'm one of those people that just has to be told things manually. And I was like, okay, I understand. And we talked more and it was sweet. And you want to know what happened? I eventually, I want to get to the sweet part because I feel like I deserve it. The car ride got very sweet and mellow. I don't even remember if we were listening to music with each other. All I know is eventually he was sitting there and I was sitting next to him with my feet in his lap. And he was just like touching my feet and feeling so guilty about that with his Catholic guilt. And he told me more about like how he used to be a trans woman and his past with drugs and his recovery and certain details about his family and the rift between them, and I appreciated it. He still admittedly did not ask me as many questions about myself as he liked, but I think he might have gotten one or two. Ew, don't remind me. A lot happened that night. But I forgot to mention, when he was panicking in that restaurant and having the table shake and on the verge of tears, about to cry and about to freak out and choked up, not even able to speak properly, I just thought to myself, I sadly think I have feelings for this man. I want to just hold him and protect him from the world. I want him to be safe with me. I want to be there for him. I want him to be confident and happy and successful and to be the real man or whatever the fuck he identifies as that he wants to be. Because holy shit, life is beating him down. And it seems like it's getting even more downhill as time goes on. I wanted him to have the best life because I just seeing someone broken like that is a lot. And I could tell that I was their only source of happiness, and it was concerning me a lot. I hate to say it, I think that is the moment where I started to fall for him. But then again, I have natural born motherly instincts and Captain Save-A-Ho energy, so shit just happens. And boy, oh boy, was he exactly the perfect target for my affections. Like, oh, this is someone I can fix, someone I can build, someone who is obsessed with me and wants me to fall for them back. and it feels good. And when we drove around in their car late at night, just talking and having a sweet time, eventually we even parked the car a few times and things got very deep. I ran my fingers through their hair and they blushed, and I said, "Your hair would look so good if it was spiked up," and they laughed. And I told them to feel comfortable staring at me as long as they want. And boy, oh boy, did they take that really far, to the point where I was actually just endlessly blushing as they were endlessly staring at me. There was not a second they wanted to take their eyes off me. And I liked the way they smirked, even with their stupid fucking mustache. It flattered their face the way they smiled and smirked for me. I hate to admit it, it still makes my pussy twitch thinking about how good they looked that night. With their fucking, like, I don't know, first night we met, I barely remember what they wore. Something simple and basic. Second time, they had like a country boy look where it's like, okay, corny ass white boy with the t-shirt, like tucked into his jeans with the belt a little bit too tight, some little simple boots and a fucking hat. And I remember they also would not stop apologizing for how bummy they looked and for the fact they took me to fucking IHOP because they didn't know I was gonna show up just like a fucking celebrity. They felt so bad. I remember the way that, let's see, on their right hand, I was just touching and stroking their arms so they could get used to physical touch with me, and I felt them get goosebumps and their hairs raise, and the way that they would blush and like their breathing would get really shallow and uneven, and they'd full body tense up at any little bit of touch I would give to them, and it was so sexy to see. I have to admit, it's like, wow, I'm really driving you crazy with very little contact. And I found the scar on their wrist from when they, well, you know, it was a very, very, very undeniably deep scar. And I said, "Is this what I think it is?" And he said, "Yes." And I have a lot of things up with me personally. I don't know how to explain what I said in a sane way, but I guess the beauty is I don't have to pretend to be sane. It turned me on a bit. I know that's sick and disturbing, I know. But then again, last year I was sexting some music producer who was a self-harmer but also had a thing for women like cutting into their skin and leaving scars. So what could I say? It had like a weird effect on me. Also, I have had an ex-boyfriend that cut because of me, and I hate to admit it, even back then I was attracted to it. It's like, wow, I moved somebody so much to the point they would hurt themselves like this for me. That level of delusion and obsession is so sexy because it's a form that is not hard, like, is so hard to get rid of. I know that's sick and twisted to say, but don't worry, that's more of a passive intrusive thought that also just so happened to impact my pussy. But I remember when I felt their self-harm scars, I felt a rush of emotions like shit. This tells a story of their mental health. They might have more in common with me than I thought, because I know last year I did try to kill myself. The scars on my wrist did not stay, but theirs was a deep cut. Like undeniable, like damn near like they put their wrist against a fucking buzzsaw level bad. They really did not want to be here, and they came out the other side alive and breathing. And I told them at that moment, I said, I know this is gonna sound corny, but I love that you're still here. Thank you for still being here. I know it's probably hard for you, but thank you so much for staying alive. And they got very touched hearing that, and I teared up a little bit, and it was a nice little moment. Deep down, I just thought to myself, okay, this is a person who probably has historically felt very, very alone. And I don't know how to explain it. I just thought to myself, I really love this man as a friend and as an ally. And regardless of what happens between us, I want him protected and safe so that he doesn't end up trying that again. You know? Sorry. It's 3:17 a.m. as I record this. So with me and Luke, I don't know. We drove through neighborhoods trying to look for Latina prostitutes. Just because I told him that there was a specific corner I knew where it was like 19 Latina bad bitches who just like would stand around in their fucking tall stripper heels and fishnet outfits, and it's like, hey, fuck it, let's take a look. You like Latinas and you have a fantasy about prostitutes, and I like lesbians and prostitutes too. It pays. We can just look and see what happens. And we just talked about our kinks and fetishes, and it was pleasant. And they admitted a lot of things. They said, I want you to put me in embarrassing situations. There's hardly anything I wouldn't do for you. I want you to make me do things that even seem immoral or disgusting or gross. I want to make you happy in any way I can think of. And a lot of things that I just found undeniably attractive. They said all the right things, what can I say? They also, what else happened? Something important happened. Oh, eventually, when we couldn't find the Latina prostitutes, we were already near another local city that just is like a rich person area. So we were like, you know what? What if we just drove around this place, and just saw what happened? And we ended up driving somewhere. Damn it, I broke some hair off of my fucking braids. Ouch. Whatever. But either way, we ended up driving and we ended up stumbling on a bunch of cute Halloween holiday lights. And it was like October 8th at that point, so super early in the month, but we just were admiring the lights and like the nice, wonderful views we had and how pleasant everything was. And it was so, 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 so nice. And I'm gonna say it, it was a night where it felt like another timeline for me. Just a fun reality break that I really needed. I was working too hard, consumed by my responsibilities, constantly stressed out and burnt out, and dealing with caffeine and alcohol. And just, it's like, this is a time where it's like, look, here I am with a sweet man who really, really, really adores everything about me. And we are taking a nice, slow drive on these nice, winding, dark roads, looking at holiday lights. And it feels like everything in the world is finally going right. And it's making me happy. You want to know what happened? Uh, let's see. Oh, other stuff happened too. Uh, I've mentioned it before. You can find the video I talked about it. Let's just say they saw my titty. And let's just say seeing a very religious man who hasn't had sex in a year and doesn't even masturbate to porn see your breast in its most like I forget, was I on my period? I might have been on my period or towards the end of it. All I know is my titty was fucking huge and plump that night. And it was like hella, I took an hour to get ready for the date that evening because I triple exfoliated, double moisturized. I even had extra hair gel accidentally make my titties extra glossy. I had porn star level titties. I whipped out one titty at the end of our date. The way this man screamed at the top of his lungs, "Holy mother of Jesus Christ! God dog!" Jesus fucking God, sir. I'm never not gonna laugh about that memory. What a stupid fucking guy. But it was a wholesome memory. And I remember the way we almost got sexual that evening. Like, at most, they tried to suck my titty, and you could tell that it's like their thin little lips and small little mouth and lack of experience. Like, they didn't know what they were doing. And just, I don't know, there's a bunch of moments I could bring up. I could bring up how he saw my titty, and I was like, would you like to touch it? The way his hands shook harder than I'd ever seen, and he slightly put his hand on it, and he was just like, oh, and he almost nutted immediately, and then he started shaking again and was like, oh, no, oh, and just like gently lifts up my sweater dress over my titty, and then just gently pats it like 3 times. Like, there, back hitting you go. That was so fucking funny. Oh my god. Even then, after that, I don't know. It's so funny how it's like we ended up with him very poorly trying to suck my titty and fingering me, also very poorly, before he ever even had a first kiss. All I know is at some point we almost considered it. I was horny, time was there, and I was feeling a little fast. I was like, you know what? I don't know, I want to. It's a very nice evening, and I guess I am I don't know. I saw their dick, I spat on it. Stuff happened. Nothing too much. All I know is eventually we did pull over somewhere after driving around a bit, and we were like, I was like, I don't want to have full sex or anything, but would you like to titty fuck me a bit? I wouldn't mind going home with your cum on my tits. And he was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he was excited. But then the second we pulled over, and like, I forget how it happened. All I know is he started shaking again very nervously. And then, like, oh yeah, I think I was kissing his neck like softly, and he had a very soft neck, and he loved the sensation. I whispered in his ear about how badly I wanted him, and he just full on pulls me in and embraces me for the world's tightest hug, and he's shaking still, and I think it's the cutest thing in the world, and he hugs me so fucking tight as if he's just trying to like pray the lust out of my soul or whatever. And then he just like whips out of it, and he looks me in the eyes, and he says, is it possible we can only do this after I take you on like a really, really, really nice date? Because you're, you're a really nice girl. Like, really nice. And that was like the sweetest thing I had heard. I don't want to say in my life, but like, I appreciated it. Even though I had a, like, it's like, okay, that's kind of rooted in a Madonna whore complex to think, I don't know, just, but either way, it's like, okay, hell, why would I say no to that? I respect your consent and I like nice dates. And then I remember the way he hugged me and stuff. And he felt so bad. He kept apologizing. He was like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I was like, don't apologize. I respect your consent. You don't need to do anything with me you don't want to. And even if you want to and just don't feel ready, that's fine. Do you think I'm going to complain over like you wanting to take me out on a nice date? Because I like you and I like nice dates and I would like to see where it goes. It's fine. I don't own your body and it's okay. And he still felt super bad about it for ages. And I don't know, like, I don't want to talk too much about what bad happened next, even though I know that's the inevitable bad part. But I want to focus on the good and live in the good because I hate to say it. I don't see him as that harmful. I don't. Like I've already said in this video, he's someone who will pay for like 4 fucked up hash browns before he can ever think to ask for even one hash brown to get remade. Or to correct, like, he's the type of person that can't even correct the waitress when she gets his order wrong or delivers it cold or something. He's the type of guy that was deathly afraid to look at me because he was deep down afraid that I would be disgusted if he looked at me for longer than 2 seconds on a date. He had overwhelming affection to me to a point that scared him so much. He would not stop talking about, like, he low-key was trying to hide the fact that he was fantasizing hard about, like, what if me and her did get married? What if we did had a family together? What if she was the one? What if this was the girl for me? What if she's amazing? He wanted me really, really, really badly. And maybe it's because I know about some of the shit that went down with his family and other parts I could definitely piece together. Maybe it's because I know that he's the type of dude that even before he saw my titty, if he so much as even looked at my fucking leg in my dress with a leg slit, like just a little bit of like the upper knee area, like 2 inches above the knee, he would immediately start blushing and hyperventilating and thinking of himself as such a disgusting perverted bastard that didn't deserve rights. He was the type of guy where me whispering in his ear something small would make his full body like blush and tense up and start vibrating. I found him so fucking cute. I hate to say it, he was exactly my type, and I hate to say it, I can't see him as harmful. I know he is, but like, I don't know how to explain it. He's like a pathetic pawn in a game, and he knows it, and he doesn't want to put a plan in motion to truly break away from it. And that's the reason we are not in contact. He knows what he wants, but he also doesn't. Funny enough, even in our last phone calls we had recently where he was upset with me but still wanted me because of all the shit we've done to each other for the past month or so, he still admitted he had no idea what he wanted, but he was still sure that he still really lusted for me. And it's gross to think about on so many reasons. Like, some moments were nice and peaceful, but think about it. Did he ever ask me that many questions, or did he just stroke his own ego by listing out things he wanted to do to me in future fake and love bomb? Did he really adore me? Or did he just like the idea of freedom I represented in his life when he felt powerless? And I also just so happened to be dazzlingly attractive. If you if you asked him my favorite color, would he give the right answer? Then again, do I even know the answer? I think pink, but I don't know. Yeah, I think pink. Pink still is a solid color, but red is also fun. I don't know. Probably pink. If you were to ask him how many siblings I have, technically none, because I'm estranged from all of them. God bless and amen. If you were to ask him several important life events, he wouldn't know the answer. If you were to ask him my dress size or shoe size or how tall I am, he probably wouldn't know the answer. He doesn't know a lot about me. It was just two people who were very infatuated with each other on a helpless romance. But I have to say, something that people say about Romeo and Juliet is that they didn't have to genuinely be totally realistically in love. It could have just been a limerence or an infatuation or a temporary taboo obsession. But they were young and they were temporarily in love, no matter how fleeting, and they should have had room to explore that. And for so many reasons, with the differences in our lifestyles and the way he is and the way I am, but especially the way he is, holy shit, he's a loser and an asshole. It just wasn't gonna work. It almost did. We got so close. I've said it before about what happened on our third meetup at night. I don't know if I want to repeat it again. I don't think I want to. It'll hurt too much tonight, but I will say it was a lovely evening before it all went to shit. And I'm avoiding thinking about what ifs. What if he wasn't a bigoted, racist fucking loser? What if we had a pleasant conversation that time? What if he didn't catastrophize? What if I didn't catastrophize? What if we tried to prevent the equivalent of both of us throwing shit into fans and then watching it spray all over the place and destroy both of us? What if we worked? But you know what? That's a little bit too idealized for me, so the only thing I can have is the ideal reality that we temporarily shared, where for a few dates and a few meetups and some like positive, pleasant memories attached, it was real. My attraction to him was real. At some point, he and I wanted to know more about him. It's not every, like, trust me, it's not every day you meet someone who also has the trans experience. It's not every day you meet someone who also has suffered from estrangement from their family. It's not every day you meet someone who has questioned the meaning of life and their higher power and religion. It's not every day you meet someone who is obsessed with you just about as much as you're obsessed with them and is so in love with you that even at your worst moments and at your best moments, they still want you and think about you every second of the day when they have a chance to. It's not every day you have something like that. And it was really nice and pleasant, and it was what I needed, it was what he needed, and we didn't get to fully fill each other's goals. I didn't get to make them into a confident, happy man. They didn't get to make me into a woman who had peace into a hard time, and he ended up being the reason I was stressed out for a month straight after things ended between us. And I was the reason his life got thrown even more into chaos instead of peace. We ended up destroying each other instead of being positive for each other like we had planned, but at some point we were positive to each other, and we loved each other so much. Even if it was just fleeting, it was mutual. It was a mutual infatuation. And yeah, it was real. Doesn't mean it was permanent. Doesn't mean it was gonna last. But in that moment, it was real, and it was both of us honest in meaning it when we said we loved each other. At least seemingly. Seemingly. It, it was both of us admitting things to each other and feeling awesome, and it was great. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if they actually meant it when they said they loved me, but you want to know what's sick and twisted is that Like a few weeks back, we did have a phone call. It was just an input. I was trying to leave a voicemail, they picked up, I vented, and we talked for like 3 hours, maybe even 4, even though we should have not been talking at all. And they admitted to me that they thought about when we had sex and when I was at their apartment plenty of times, like basically over 50 times a day, every single day, even with us on bad terms and even with things ending. Now that's not super flattering, obviously. It's like it scratched a certain itch in my mind, but it's like it's like that's lust, you know. That's not you being a man and a confident man who goes for the lady who he allegedly loves. That's just you being a man child who's obsessed with sex because you don't put in the moves in place to actually make your life better. You just seek escapism through drugs or alcohol, and when you can't have access to that, you use women. And you fantasize and future fake with them before you get bored and toss them aside, but still obsess over them for the rest of your life. On some weird, stupid, fucking lame ass shit. Pathetic asshole. But you know what? They also did later on confess to me that allegedly, when they told me they loved me for the very first time, that they meant it. I don't think I believed them. I don't believe them. I don't want to talk about what happened between us that made it go so bad, but like, there's no reason to believe that they did. It's nice to picture it, but deep down, if he loved me, so much would have not happened. But he claims to have loved me, and that when he said he loved me in the car, conveniently when I was sucking his dick, of course, and that several times in bed when we said it, and then afterwards in the awkward little post-sex experience where he was zoned out, but still kind of like a nice little positive little afterglow of us just eating pancakes and me wearing his shirt and his shorts and sitting at his house and relaxing. I still don't know how to. It felt weird. We both knew something bad was going to happen that evening, but we both were trying to avoid it, and then it happened, and it's weird we both suspected it. It was a moment where both of us knew something was going to happen, and it did. I don't want to talk about it, but I will say. At some point, it was real. It hurts that it can be that way again, at least not for a very long time, if ever again. But at some point, we were what each other wanted, and maybe what we needed, and it was lovely, and I got to experience, after a very long time, being able to look a man in the eyes during sex and say that I loved him and wanted his kids and a future with him and wanted to make it work. And he told me before sex, during sex, after sex, that he absolutely still wanted to make it work between us despite all our differences, and he would do anything possible to make it work. And unfortunately, dear listener, that was not the case. Anyway, I loved him. I did. And that since the image of him in my mind that I knew of him from before has never truly gone away. I still see him as a scared young man. No family, no friends, no job, no self-esteem. Like, even the monologues he would vent to me where he admitted that he wanted to kill himself again or relapse on drugs again, and that he felt helpless and that his life was going to be him just at home, stuck caring for his mom, never having a life, and never having any fulfillment till the end of fucking time. There's not much to say other than the video for now. I think my laptop froze up for a few seconds. Sorry about that. I hope it didn't freeze up during one point of this video. I'll just say I hate all this man stands for. because he knows what he is. He knows the secrets about himself. He knows that the closet's made of glass. Like, he knows his own hypocrisies. And he knows what lifestyle he's trying to escape from, that people are trying to force him into. And there is a reason that the night where he was going to go to church, he felt too ashamed to even walk into the building, and he chose to meet me instead, pick me up, rebelled against his parents, and had me at his house. And we made out and had sex and ate pancakes together. There's a reason for all of it. I wish it could have ended with him having a huge lifestyle change and us being happily ever after in love and peaceful and abundantly blessed, but you know what? Sadly not. And I wish I could end this video on a positive note. All I can say is I'm glad I got to see a pure version of him at some point, not the asshole that he truly is. Not the role he plays. Like, okay, this is not the guy who's pretending to be a huge bigot fascist on the internet, even though I'm pretty sure some parts of it he truly has deluded himself into thinking he believes that. But at some point, I don't know, I think he knew. He just, I wish I could say something positive. I won't say much more other than that man needs to figure out what it is he wants and what he needs and desires, because I can reassure you he's going to lose his fucking mind on the path he's on right now. And he already has. Amen. I wish I had more to say, but I'll say it like this, and who knows, maybe I'll break down crying and have to drink a bunch of Mountain Dew to cope with it, but the version of him that I had, a scared young man with no power, no control over his life, grasping for straws, is all I see him as. And his attempts at being a fascist, or his attempts at trying to find any sort of community or validation from his family, because he knows he won't get it otherwise if he doesn't go down that route, and also because his survival has to be staked on it from time being. But I have to say, I would have loved it if he was the type of man that would actually fight for me, to have me around and done more. But he's a coward little boy who's scared. And I want a man. And I wanted to make him a man, and I could have, and yet he did not allow himself. You can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And he wants to believe that his parents are saints and that the church absolutely can accept him after he changes himself in a million ways, and that he truly is a straight male who believes in capitalism and genocide, as if fucking loser he is. Ah, amen. And I'll get over him someday. As of now, I have to admit, I sadly love him. And it disgusts me and it aches. But on the bright side, I'll get over it as well. And I can live a life 10 times better than his because I allow myself to have what he doesn't. Honesty, freedom, love for others, peace, and hope. And I actually execute all my stuff and I get it done. And I do well at it. And he can do well at it someday, and he's just not ready yet to be that, so that's on him. He will be what he sows. Amen. Peace out. Thank you and goodbye. God bless.